welcome back. Hello. I am super excited for next month's video, but I gotta get through this month's video first. Alright, before I start, you'll notice that I am looking at notes that I wrote down on this cute notebook. What you may not know about me is I love notebooks. I love journals and stuff like that. This one, I believe, if I remember correctly, I got as part of a Reddit gift exchange that was stationery related, and I absolutely love it. It's called Adorable Dot, and it says, "Would you like some flavors that make your mouth come alive? Something to eat, something to set your mouth on fire," which is random. And then I was looking at it earlier today, and I had seen the writing there, but I'd never read it before. And it says, "Would you like some flavors?" Oh, it's the same thing. I just realized that. I thought I read it earlier, but clearly I didn't. So it's just the same thing. Yeah, like it has some really good, nice lined sheets. And then what's cool is you can see it has a bunch of colors, and all of the colors are just blank pages. So, pink, yellow, green, blue. So I don't know. I just really like this little notebook. So, oh, and I really love these in sheets. Like the first sheet, it's kind of hard to tell. Oh, you can kind of see it. It's like a metallic, glittery blue, which I absolutely love as well. I have written today's video notes in here as an outline to try to just keep myself flowing, to keep just try not to repeat the same thing too much, try to cut down on the number of times I say or ah or any of those little words, try to improve my speech, try to just overall make a better video, because as we know, I don't like editing. So if I get it right the first time, hopefully I won't have to do no editing. I'm thrilled that my sister seems to like a new computer that she got, and that will have the ability to do some really nice edits. She said that she would look at taking some editing courses to see if it's something that she enjoys doing. If it is, then I've got myself a free editor, because I will just make her edit my videos and add things and make them all polished and fun, especially the art ones, because eventually I'm going to run out of things to talk about like this, maybe, and I'll try to do more artistic videos. I'd love to get more set up in terms of cameras and all that stuff, but right now I'm just using my iPad, or I use my phone, that sort of thing. So, that is not the right page. We are talking about, so today is a deeper dive into me and things that I have been diagnosed with or suffer from or whatever. I know my previous one was about asthma, and my original idea was to start from the head down, and I did asthma instead, just because it was impacting me so much at that time. So we're going back on track. We're starting up here, and we're gonna go down. Today's video is, you've seen the title, you know what it is. It's about my mini-me, my brain tumor. I'm gonna talk about how I found out, why that shouldn't have happened that way, how it impacts me, and a secondary secondary diagnosis from that kind of thing. That's all connected. Jump right into how I found out. I had made an appointment to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor because I was having some issues that I wanted some help with in his assessment. So looking at me and talking to me and getting information, he noticed that my eyes do this, which is not something I'm going to deep dive into today. And he asked me if that was something that I had always had. Try saying that 3 times. I've had. And I said I didn't know because I didn't. Wasn't something my family told me about. Wasn't something that my eye doctors had really told me about that I had remembered. Looking back, I think it was something that I did know about. But my memory, I have the memory of goldfish, so I said no because honestly I didn't. That seemed to worry him a bit, and now I realize why. If it's not congenital, if you develop what's called nystagmus, it can indicate that you have a brain tumor. So he was really worried. So he had scheduled or sent off to schedule, I believe at first it was just a CT scan. And I don't think I waited long. So I had the CT scan. Oh no, maybe it was a little bit. I'm trying to remember the timing of everything. Honestly, I don't remember, what months all this took place in. So I had the visit. Got notification I had the CT scan. Went and did the CT scan. Didn't think anything of it. And I was homesick one day from work, which was a rarity for me. I was in bed because I was sick. I always got knocked on my butt by colds. Always took a lot out of me. So I was at home from work, in bed, and I remember my mom was home. So either she was going to work late, wasn't going to work, or had already just come home. One of those. I, again, don't remember. The details are a little fuzzy. She gets the phone because it's ringing. And she's like, oh, it's a doctor's office. And I was like, oh, okay. I answer it. And it was what turns out now to be my neurologist. So it was the neurologist's office, which was news to me. I had zero idea that an appointment was being made with a neurologist. My ENT never told me, didn't call me, didn't say anything. I had the CT scan, and I don't think very much time passed. I was getting this phone call. And she introduced herself and said that she was from this neurologist's office. She's just confirming that I had an appointment tomorrow, the next day. I was like, what? And I was like, okay. So took down the address, and then I had to call my manager to say, I know I just called in sick today, but also going to need tomorrow off because I apparently have to go to Toronto. And I won't lie, I was very nervous, very scared. One, obviously, because I wasn't expecting a call from the neurologist's office, so I had a feeling I knew what that meant. And two, it was in a part of Toronto I wasn't familiar with. I'm very familiar with downtown Toronto, and I was very familiar with getting to Women's College Hospital in Toronto because that's where my ENT was. That was it. I wasn't really familiar with going to anywhere else. And my neurologist's office was, it ended up being a bus ride to the local terminal, and then I took the Greyhound to Toronto, and then it was 2 subway rides and a 10-minute walk, or one subway and then one bus, and then I don't know how many walk. So and I was by myself, so trying to navigate that. I was sick, still suffering from a cold at that point. Like, I was just in bed the day before, so I was, not really keen on leaving, but here I was. I managed to get there. The whole time I was nervous. Get there. I see him for the first time, and he remains one of my favorite doctors of all that I have or have had. He is, I would say, top 3. The nicest, the most qualified, content. He's just a really good listener. If I say that I'm worried about something, he doesn't brush it off. I can always see him writing it down, and either alleviates my fears or, lets me know what we could do for next steps or anything like that. He's also been a huge win for me in terms of my migraines, which I have always had, but as I've gotten older, they've just gotten worse. So he's just been an amazing person, and I can't speak more highly of him. And so I get into his office, introduces himself to me, we talk, and then he says, "You have a brain tumor." The 2 words or 5 words, I guess, I got there. 5 words that literally, next to "you have cancer," is probably the scariest sentence that you'll ever hear. I learned that it was most likely benign, which it is, and he kind of told me where it is. So that's when he's like, "We're going to do a MRI to just rule out anything else and just to double check what we assume that it is." To this day, they still think it is the type of tumor that I'm told that it is. It's called a lipoma. I guess outside of doing actual biopsy, they just have to go by the characteristics of it that they can just see by imaging. So they're never going to be 100% about exactly what it is, but they are confident that it is. So waiting between the CT scan and the MRI to be 100% sure. As I mentioned, I was really scared, and but it was what it was, and I think what I was mainly worried about was having to have brain surgery, because we all seen, the movies, we've all seen the news articles and how scary that can be, and, what you have to go through. So that wasn't what I wanted to go through. After everything I had already gone through, wasn't what I wanted to do, and still not what I want to do at all. It's something that we monitor on a regular basis ever since COVID, less so. All of my appointments with him are virtual, and mainly managing my migraines for the most part. I'm sure after COVID or coming out, we'll probably go for another imaging, because it's been probably, actually, it was on my Facebook memories. I think it's been about 5 years since the last imaging I've had of it, so I'm sure the next time him and I speak, we'll be scheduling that. So we'll see if anything's changed, but it hasn't in the 40-ish years that I've actually lived with this, which is a segue to my next part of this video. I should have already known that this thing existed in my head. It shouldn't have been a surprise, because some years ago I got some clinic notes, and intake and discharge papers from the hospital sick children where I had the surgeries as a kid. And in the admission that they do when I was a baby, so I was born, and that very day I was helicoptered to sick kids. And when you're new there and you're an infant, they do a whole workup. So every system, endocrine system, heart, lungs, literally all the organs, all the things, including the brain, they look at and make sure everything else is good. And they did, that's where they first learned that I had a brain tumor. And according to the notes, it wasn't, to them it wasn't consequential. They didn't really seem to care about it. Even though I think today, if I had the same scan, it would have been a little bit more important, and I think a little bit more information would have been gathered. But they were more worried about me eating or getting sustenance than anything else, and it wasn't clearly causing any specific issues at that time, so they didn't really care. There's that, again, I'm trying to avoid the tumor where it's located, I guess I should say, and I will put, the only editing in this video that I'm going to do is try to put a picture of the tumor here. Okay, see it? I hopefully pointed it in an arrow to it, or yeah, there should be an arrow in the picture that I used. So it's in pretty much in midbrain, and it damaged the connection between the two hemispheres. So your corpus callosum, I think is how it's pronounced. Corpus callosum. I'm probably mispronouncing that. If I am, don't at me. I don't need to care. So I was actually diagnosed with what's called angiomas of corpus callosum. So that's where damage is done to that part, the connective tissue between the two hemispheres. There are people who are born where that part of the brain just doesn't exist. So it's a complete separation of the two hemispheres. In my case, it was just a damage, so it's just a partial. And what we didn't know then that I know now, and what my mom didn't bring up when I was a kid, is the impact that that had on me. So that's the other part that I want to kind of segue to, is that when I was little, I fell a ton, like a ton. I was not steady on my feet. I fell and got goose eggs all the time. I fell down just standing up. I didn't really need any help or anything. I just standing and I fell over. My motor control skills weren't that great. I think outside of that, I also was labeled failure to grow. And what one of the doctors at Sick Kids thought, and they just kind of brushed it off as saying, well, she has this condition, so the damage to my brain. So they kind of think that my failure to grow was related to that. But again, I honestly don't think my mom mentioned to them the number of times that I fell, or that I had a goose egg, or that literally anything. So it wasn't, again, something that was investigated, and it wasn't something that was a big thing. But I kind of wanted to read to you the definition of the condition of angiomas of the corpus callosum. So it says it's a rare birth defect. So for me, it wasn't a birth. Well, no, on second thought, I guess it was technically a birth defect, because a brain tumor was a defect. So a rare birth defect in which there is a partial, that's fine, or a complete absence of the part of the brain that connects the two hemispheres of the brain. yeah, so mine was due to the lipoma, which was, present at birth, was considered unremarkable. It wasn't until I was labeled as failure to grow, where they're like, oh, well, she has this tumor, so that's probably what's causing it. So, yeah. The other thing that not talk about that. The other thing that as an adult that I am being told that it can impact, besides fine motor controls, I got issues with weakness on one side of my body than the other. So my left arm and hand and left leg are both substantially weaker than my right. I also seem to have developed arthritis in my shoulder, but that's a separate issue. But even before that, I had always had weakness in this arm and my leg. And I had a nerve conductivity test done, and they just said that, oh, it's probably the brain, tumor that you have in your brain. It has a lot of impacts that we can't really investigate or can even know about, because the brain is still a really unexplored territory. We're only uncovering little bits here and there. So a lot of them have, they don't dismiss it. Obviously, like I said, my neurologist is amazing. When he noticed, he always noticed it, but I was having more pain and some other issues and a substantial weakness. And that's when he sent me for the nerve conductivity study. And we just never really found out. So it's just probably a combination of things, including as I get older, and the tumor will probably have more impact. I also suffer from debilitating migraines, a few different types, and more than likely that's a combination of I probably would have gotten migraines anyways, even if I hadn't had it, and to where the tumor is, and that is something that causes brain tumors. It also impacted the way that I learn. So I have a learning disability, and I have trouble communicating and sometimes forming words, which you've probably noticed in this video. It just happened. I can't always grab words as much as I want to. I thought having a little outline here would help me stay on track. I think I need to redesign it because I'm still finding that I'm having difficulty. And I'm still saying more than I want to. The struggle with balance and the struggle with hand-eye coordination is something that I still struggle with to this day. I still have been known to just fall over like one of those sleeping goats. What are they called? The goats that just, when they get scared. I don't do it when I get scared. I just do it whenever. I don't need any provoking. I tend to have to walk a certain speed or else I lose my balance too easily. I have trouble getting up and down from certain positions. A lot of that, again, is just because I'm getting older, but a lot of that is something that has always been present. I can't kneel down and then balance on the balls of my feet. I don't have the ability to regulate how I perceive where I am, so I end up just kind of falling over. And I guess recently I can stand outside on the stoop that we have, and I'm very careful because I'll just fall over. So I try to move around a little bit and not stay in one position for too long. what else? Yeah, so anytime that I go to a hospital and they're like, are you a fall risk? I have to say yes, even though I tend to say no. I don't want to admit it, but I am a fall risk, so it is a reality I have to live with. So I think that covers it. So that's my brain tumor. I name it Mini Me after Austin Powers movies that I enjoy so much. In case you cared, she is about 3 centimeters long and about 1 centimeter thick. Or 1 centimeter wide, 3 centimeters long, and I don't know how many millimeters thick. And like I said, she's as old as I am, been there since the beginning, will be there when I go away. There has been no evidence that it has grown or it will grow, and we just monitor it. And that's kind of it. It's not really, it's just another interesting thing about me that, like I said, I wanted to share with you guys. So you do have your own experience with either a benign brain tumor or something more nefarious and you feel comfortable sharing, please do. I don't know of anybody else that has the brain tumor where I do, or angioedema of the corpus callosum. So if you do, we'd love to hear from you. Be cool. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I would appreciate it if you liked it. Leave a comment, share it. What other things are you interested to know about me? I'll probably be covering it, but I'd really like to know what more you want to see. Like I said, next month's video is the art video. That's what we do here. Has that been there the whole time? Oh my goodness. I'm not filming this again, so I hope you enjoyed that piece of fuzz that was sitting there the whole time. Can't believe you didn't tell me. I'm joking. Yes, next month, art. Very excited. Probably do it in a couple of weeks and not leave it to the last minute because I'm excited for it. Yeah, that's it. I got nothing. All right. I hope you enjoy your day, enjoy your week, enjoy your month. I look forward to our next video. All right. Bye.